My fiancée cheated with my own father at our engagement party. Yeah, you heard that right. While everyone was raising their glasses to us. Let me take you from the very beginning.
Her name was Isabella. We had been together for 4 years. She was everything I ever wanted. Beautiful, smart, funny, the kind of woman who makes every room brighter. I proposed 6 months ago on a trip to Italy, and she said yes with tears in her eyes. We spent the next months planning a big engagement party to 120 guests, beautiful garden venue, live music, everything perfect. My father was helping us organize it. He's always been the life of the party, charismatic, successful businessman, the guy everyone loves. He kept saying, "Son, I'm so proud of you. Isabella is an incredible woman. You got lucky." I believed him. I trusted him with my life. In the weeks leading up to the party, Isabella started spending a lot of time with my father. They were planning the surprise for me, choosing the cake, the music, the decorations. She would go to his house after work to finalize details. She started dressing up more when she knew she would see him. Nicer dresses, more makeup, the perfume I bought her for special occasions. One night she came home late and smelled like his cologne. When I asked, she laughed and said, "Your dad hugged me goodbye. You know how he is." I brushed it off. It was my father, my own blood. The man who raised me. I told myself I was being paranoid because of wedding stress. The engagement party was perfect. The garden looked magical. String lights, flowers, live jazz band. Everyone was laughing, drinking, congratulating us. Isabella looked stunning in a long white dress. My father gave a beautiful speech about how proud he was of me and how lucky I was to have found Isabella. People were raising their glasses, clapping, taking photos. At one point, Isabella said she needed to go inside the house to fix her makeup. My father said he would help her find something in the kitchen. They were gone for almost 25 minutes. I started to feel uneasy, so I went inside to check on them. I walked down the hallway toward the kitchen. The door was slightly open. I heard her laugh. That soft, intimate laugh she usually only used with me. Then I heard my father's low voice. I pushed the door open just enough to see inside. There they were, my fiancée and my own father. He had her pressed against the kitchen counter. Her white dress was pulled up to her waist. His hands were on her thighs. They were kissing, deep, hungry, passionate. She had one hand in his hair, the other gripping his shirt. She moaned quietly into his mouth. My father, the man who walked her down the aisle at the rehearsal dinner 2 days earlier, was making out with my future wife on the night we celebrated our engagement. Isabella saw me first. Her eyes went wide with pure terror. She pushed my father away so hard he stumbled into the counter. My father turned around, saw me, and for the first time in my life, I saw real fear in his eyes. Isabella started crying immediately. "It's not what it looks like. We were just talking. It was the alcohol. Please don't ruin the party." My father tried to say, "Son, listen, we can explain." I didn't say a word. I just turned around and walked back outside to the party where everyone was still cheering for us. But what happened after I walked back to the party? That was when the real nightmare began. Because the engagement party was still going on, all our friends and family were there. The rings were on our fingers. And both Isabella and my father immediately started spinning a story that made me look like the crazy one for imagining things on the night we were supposed to celebrate our future. But what happened after I walked back to the party? That was when the real nightmare began. I walked back into the garden like a ghost. The music was still playing. People were laughing, clinking glasses, taking photos. No one knew what had just happened inside the house. Isabella and my father came out a few minutes later. Her dress was perfectly back in place. Makeup fixed, smile plastered on her face. My father looked calm and charming, as always. They both walked straight up to me as if nothing happened. Isabella grabbed my arm and whispered loudly enough for people nearby to hear. "Babe, you okay? You look like you saw a ghost. Too much champagne?" My father laughed and slapped me on the back. "Son, you need to relax. It's your engagement party." They were already rewriting reality in real time. Within 10 minutes, they had completely flipped the script. Isabella started telling guests that I was just stressed from all the planning and having a little anxiety attack. My father pulled a few of my uncles aside and said, "He's been working too hard lately." Got himself all worked up over nothing. People started looking at me with pity, like I was the unstable one ruining his own engagement party. Isabella even hugged me in front of everyone and said loudly, "I love you so much. We're going to have the most beautiful life together." She was smiling at me with the same lips that had just been on my father's mouth. I tried to get away from the crowd. Isabella followed me behind a large tree. Her mask dropped instantly. She grabbed my wrist hard and whispered through clenched teeth, "If you say one word about what you think you saw, I will tell everyone you're having a mental breakdown. Your own family already thinks you're crazy. Don't ruin this night for all of us." My father appeared behind her a few seconds later. He looked me dead in the eyes and said quietly, "Son, whatever you think you saw, it was nothing. Let's not destroy the family over a misunderstanding. Think about your mother. Think about everyone who came here for you. They were threatening me together on the night we were supposed to celebrate our engagement. They forced me to cut the engagement cake with her. Everyone cheered and took photos. Isabella kissed me on the cheek for the cameras while whispering in my ear, "Smile. Act normal, or I swear I'll make your life hell." My father raised his glass and gave another beautiful speech about true love and family bonds. The entire party clapped and toasted to us. I stood there smiling like a robot while my fiancé and my own father had just betrayed me in the worst way possible. And now they were using the entire engagement party as a weapon to keep me quiet. But the worst part came after the last guest left, because that's when Isabella and my father sat me down in the living room and told me exactly how they expected the rest of my life to go from now on. But the worst part came after the last guest left. The last car drove away around 1 a.m. The garden was empty. The lights were still on. The half-eaten cake stood on the table like a sick joke. Isabella and my father asked me to sit down in the living room. They sat across from me, side by side, on the couch like a united front. My father spoke first, calm and businesslike, as if he was closing a deal. "Son, let's be adults about this. What happened tonight was a mistake. A moment of weakness." Isabella was nervous about the wedding, the future, everything. I was trying to comfort her. "It got out of hand. It will never happen again." Isabella nodded, tears in her eyes, and added softly, "I love you. I want to marry you. This doesn't change anything. We can still have the life we planned." Then they laid out their plan. My father leaned forward and said, "We keep this between the three of us. No one else ever needs to know. You marry Isabella like we planned. We continue being the perfect family in public. I'll even help you with the business. Give you that promotion you've been wanting. In return, you forget what you saw tonight. Everyone wins." Isabella took my hand and whispered, "If you make this public, you'll destroy your own father's reputation. You'll destroy our future, our friends, our families. They'll all think you're crazy. No one will believe you over us. Do you really want to throw away everything we built because of one stupid kiss?" They made it sound like I would be the villain if I said anything. My father even showed me messages from guests. "Best engagement party ever. You two are perfect together." He smiled and said, "See? Everyone already believes in us. Don't be the one who ruins the fairy tale." Isabella started crying again, real tears this time, and said, "I can't lose you. I can't lose this life we planned. Please, just pretend tonight never happened. We can be happy. I swear I'll never look at another man again." They were offering me a deal. Marry the woman who just cheated with my father, or destroy my entire family and reputation. I sat there in silence for a long time. My father kept talking about protecting the family name and not letting one mistake destroy 3 generations of hard work. Isabella kept touching my arm, crying, saying she loved me, promising therapy, promising to delete my father's number, promising anything I wanted to hear. The worst part, for a few seconds I actually considered it. I thought about the ring on her finger, the venue we already paid for, the life we had built, the way everyone looked at us tonight, like we were the perfect couple. Then I looked at my father, the man who taught me how to ride a bike, the man I respected my whole life, and realized he had just had his tongue in my fiancé's mouth less than 2 hours ago. And that's when I finally spoke. I looked at both of them and said the words that would change everything. "I'm not marrying you, and I'm not staying silent." The moment those words left my mouth, their faces changed completely. Isabella's tears stopped instantly. My father's calm businessman mask cracked. What they did next. The threats, the bribes, the way they tried to destroy me before I could say a word to anyone. That was the part that showed me exactly who they really were. And that's when I finally spoke. I looked at both of them and said the words that would change everything. "I'm not marrying you, and I'm not staying silent." The silence that followed was louder than any scream. Isabella's fake tears stopped instantly. Her face went from victim to pure rage in half a second. My father's calm businessman mask cracked completely. For the first time, I saw real fear in his eyes. Isabella stood up so fast, the chair fell over. "You're serious? You're really going to throw away everything because of one stupid kiss? Do you know what this will do to our families? To your mother? To your reputation? Everyone will think you're crazy." My father raised his hand to calm her down, but his voice was shaking. "Son, think about what you're doing. If you say one word about tonight, you will destroy this family. I will lose my business partners. Your mother will be humiliated. Is that what you want? To burn everything down over one mistake." They weren't begging anymore. They were threatening. My father pulled out his phone and showed me messages from business partners, friends, even the pastor who was supposed to marry us. "Everyone already loves you two, together. If you make this public, you'll look like the jealous, unstable son who destroyed his own engagement because he couldn't handle his fiancée talking to his father. No one will believe you. They'll believe us." Isabella stepped closer, her voice low and venomous. "If you cancel this wedding, I will tell everyone you've been abusive and controlling. I have messages where I told my friends how jealous you are. I can make them say anything. You will lose your friends, your family, your reputation, and I will make sure you never see a penny from the wedding deposits we already paid. They were no longer trying to save the relationship. They were trying to save themselves. I stood up without saying another word. I walked upstairs, packed a bag with the essentials, and came back down. Isabella was crying again. Real panic tears. This time, my father was pacing, offering me money, a promotion, even a new car, if I just kept quiet. I looked at my father, the man who taught me how to tie a tie, the man I looked up to my whole life, and said, "You're not my father anymore, and you're not my fiancé anymore." Then I walked out the door. Behind me, I heard Isabella screaming my name and my father yelling that I would regret this for the rest of my life. I didn't look back. That night, I slept in a hotel. The next morning, I canceled the wedding, called the venue, the caterer, the photographer, everyone. I told them the wedding was off and that I would cover any cancellation fees. Then I sent the same message to both sides of the family. "I'm sorry, but the engagement is canceled. There are things you don't know. I will explain when I'm ready. Please respect my decision." But the storm that followed in the next 48 hours, that was something I could never have prepared for, because Isabella and my father didn't just accept my decision. They went to war. They called every single person we knew. They told a completely different story, and the way they tried to destroy me before I could tell the truth. That part showed me exactly how far they were willing to go. But the storm that followed in the next 48 hours, that was something I could never have prepared for. By 9 a.m. the next morning, my phone was a war zone. Isabella had already told her side of the family that I had a mental breakdown at the engagement party and accused her and my father of impossible things because I was jealous and insecure. My father called my mother and told her I was having a psychotic episode and that I needed professional help. Within hours, both families were texting me the same scripted messages. "You're destroying a good woman over nothing." Isabella is devastated. She loves you so much. Think about how this looks to everyone who came to celebrate you. They turned me into the unstable, jealous groom who ruined his own engagement party for no reason. Isabella posted a long black and white story on Instagram. "Sometimes the person you love the most is the one who hurts you the deepest. I thought we were forever. I guess some people can't handle real commitment." She tagged it with sad songs and quotes about healing from toxic relationships. My own friends started messaging me. "Dude, what happened? Isabella is saying you lost it at the party." Even some of my colleagues texted, "Heard you had a rough night. Hope you're okay." My father went even further. He called my boss and expressed concern that I was going through a personal crisis and might not be stable enough for the big project we were working on. He was trying to get me fired before I could say a word. I didn't answer anyone for 2 days. I sat in my new apartment, reading every message, every lie, every accusation. Then I did the only thing I could do. I created a group chat with both families and wrote one long message. I didn't have a breakdown. I walked in on Isabella and my own father having sex in the kitchen during our engagement party. I have nothing more to say. I will not be gaslit into staying silent. I wish you all the best, but I am done with this family. I attached 3 photos I managed to take that night. Blurry, but clear enough to show Isabella in her engagement dress pressed against my father. Then I turned off my phone. The explosion was immediate. My mother called me crying. My uncles and aunts started messaging me that I was destroying the family. Isabella sent me a voice note screaming, "You will regret this for the rest of your life. I will make sure everyone knows you're the liar." My father called me once. His voice was cold. "If you go public with this, I will sue you for defamation. I have lawyers. I have money. You have nothing. Think very carefully, son." They weren't sorry. They were scared. But the final chapter of this nightmare came 2 weeks later, because that's when Isabella showed up at my new apartment with a positive pregnancy test in her hand. She looked me in the eyes and said, "It's yours. And if you, Dante, take me back, I will raise this child alone and make sure he grows up knowing exactly what kind of man his father is." But the final chapter of this nightmare came 2 weeks later. Isabella showed up at my new apartment unannounced. She looked tired, but determined. In her hand was a positive pregnancy test. She held it up like a weapon and said calmly, "It's yours. I'm pregnant, and if you don't take me back and marry me like we planned, I will raise this child alone, and I will make sure he grows up knowing exactly what kind of man his father is, the man who abandoned his pregnant fiancée after she made one mistake." She stepped inside without asking, sat on my couch, and started crying softly. "I still love you. This baby deserves a family. Don't make me do this alone because of one stupid night with your father." For a moment the room spun. A child? My child? With the woman who had cheated with my own father at our engagement party. She pulled out ultrasound photos and showed me the tiny heartbeat. Then my phone started ringing. It was my father. He left a voice message. "Son, Isabella told me the news. This changes everything. You have a responsibility now. Don't be selfish. Come back and we can fix this as a family." Isabella looked at me with wet eyes and whispered, "See, even your father wants us to be together." For the baby, she was using the child exactly the same way she had used the engagement party, as leverage. I sat there for a long time, staring at the ultrasound photo. Then I asked her the only question that mattered. Is it really mine? Her face flickered for half a second, just long enough for me to see the truth. She recovered quickly and said, "Of course it is. Don't start this again. I made one mistake. One. This baby is ours." But I already knew. The dates didn't add up perfectly, and the way she avoided my eyes told me everything. I stood up, walked to the door, and opened it. "I'm not coming back. I will take a paternity test when the baby is born. If it's mine, I will be in his life. But I will never be with you again. And I will never forgive my father. You both made your choice that night. Now live with it." Isabella's mask completely shattered. She screamed, cried, threatened to ruin me, to tell everyone I abandoned a pregnant woman, to make sure I never saw the child. I just held the door open until she finally left. I didn't sleep that night, but the next morning I woke up and made a decision. I would not let them control me anymore. I changed my number again. I blocked everyone except my mother. I started therapy. I went back to the gym. I rebuilt my life piece by piece. The paternity test later confirmed the baby was mine. I see him every other weekend. I am a good father to him, but I have no relationship with his mother or my father. So, yeah, that's the full story. Every single painful, humiliating, disgusting detail. My fiancé cheated with my own father at our engagement party. They tried to gaslight me, threaten me, and even use our unborn child as a weapon to keep me quiet. They almost succeeded, but I walked away. I chose truth over comfort, and that was the best decision I've ever made. If you're watching this and someone you love has betrayed you in the worst possible way, if they tried to use a child, a family, or public pressure to keep you trapped, just know this: you are allowed to walk away. You are allowed to choose yourself, and you will survive it and become stronger than they ever imagined. You can send your own story straight to my email. It's in the description below. I, Putu, will read every single one, and I might tell your story in one of the upcoming episodes. Drop a like if this story hit you hard. Subscribe and turn on notifications. New, real story every single day. Truth hits different when it's your story. See you in the next one. Family, stay strong.